Hello, Kimera Hashiv and you. Sheila Nuv Andra Ahon. Sheila Nuv Andra Ahon. It's St. Andrew's Day, and there's some big things happening in Scotland today. And I don't mean street parades or anything like that. We don't have those here for St. Andrew's Day. It's not like St. Patrick's Day or anything like that. St. Andrew's Day is very quiet, but still, there's some good news for the Gaelic language. So we're going to look at a news report about that. But before we do, we just need to go over the construction of this sentence. So you can see there, Sheila Nuv Andra Ahon. Okay, so it's saying it's St. Andrew's Day that's in itself. Now, in Gaelic, we often use that construction. So, for descriptions, you can say things like, oh, hamifur, I am cold, or it is wet, or whatever, haifluch. But for definitions, we often say things like it is that particular thing that's in itself, talking about how it is. We use it for professions, and you've seen it coming up in other constructions as well on this channel. I used it in my last video clip about Christmas, talking about Nolik. It's Christmas that's in itself. You can go back and review it. And here we can see it's Sheila Nuv Andra Ahon. Okay, so La Nuv Andra is simply Day La Nuv, Saint or Holy Person, Andra Andrew Ahon. That's in itself. So that's what's in the day. It's Saint Andrew. So it's not so difficult. It's just about getting into that way of Gaelic speaking. It's not actually hard. It's just remembering to use it and all the different bits that go with it. If you have an old Scottish or Irish relative, you might hear them using really weird constructions. For example, someone said to me the other day, talking about a friend of theirs, they said, oh yeah, the drink got a hold of him, or oh, the COVID took him. And that's another way that people have translated these things from Gaelic into English. It's just more poetic. I think actually it's Old English rather than Gaelic. But in Gaelic, when we talk about professions, they're often in you, you know. You might have heard some people saying, oh, yeah, I can see that in him. It means I can see he has that quality. And that is a good way to remember when to use this. So you can see here what it's saying is Sheila Nuv Andra Ahon. It's the day of Saint Andrew that's in itself. Yeah, it's typical kind of Gaelic way of saying things. And there we are. You can find references to that in many of my modern video clips, the ones that have been done this year. I think I've covered that. Okay, so hopefully you found that helpful. Right, let's go to that news report we mentioned earlier. Right, let me just scroll to the top of this page so that you can see it properly. Gaelic and Scots now recognized as official languages. So I'm pleased to tell you that Gaelic is now an official language here in Scotland. And there's a news report about that. It's the same with Scots, although I always thought Scots was a dialect, but never mind. It says here, Gaelic and Scots have now been recognised as official languages as part of a range of new measures coming into force on St Andrew's Day. That's today. The Scottish Languages Act, which MSPs, that's members of the Scottish Parliament, voted through in June, also empowers parents to ask for a Gaelic school to be established in their area and aims to ensure that more qualifications are available in Gaelic. Yeah, good luck with that if you're if you're trying. Money is tight. They do go on to say that they've already spent millions this year. Here we are. This is Kate Forbes. She says, Forbes added that the Scottish Government had already allocated £35.7 million for Gaelic and Scots initiatives this year. I'd really love to see where that money went, because all I hear about are cutbacks. But then again, I'm not really involved in mainstream Gaelic media. I'm sure the upkeep of things like BBC Alaba is very costly. I don't mean the BBC channel itself. That's probably paid for by the license fee, but the production company that makes things for it, I'm guessing it's not cheap. It says here the Scottish Languages Bill was introduced on St Andrew's Day in 2023, and it received royal assent on the 1st of August 2025. It says here that the latest figures show that 130,161 people in Scotland had some Gaelic skills in 2022, an increase of 43,000 from 2011. And then it goes on to say that Scots has also increased, which is really good news, of course. We're all raised with Scots. I mean, not the old Scots, but I think we all grow up knowing some Scots phrases and words, at least. It's kind of normal here. So the Scottish Council with the highest proportion of Gaelic speakers was the Western Isles, with 57.2% having some Gaelic skills. So if you are involved in learning Gaelic, teaching Gaelic, doing Gaelic things, well done. It looks like there is an impact there, although there's such a shortage of Gaelic teachers that I don't really think there's going to be so many Gaelic schools unless more teachers become available. Either way, this is really good news. I mean, the Scottish Government already have power to force Gaelic on companies here. They've already used it to ensure that ScotRail, the train company, uses Gaelic. You know that the train signage at the stations are all bilingual. You can see the town names in Gaelic and English. Also on the boats, particularly those going to the Highlands, they also have a lot of Gaelic signage. So this is great news. And I really hope things continue, although Gaelic is so political, really. First sign of a cutback, and Gaelic gets slashed in the funding. I don't follow any recent news about Bord Gaelic or the Scottish Government's commitment to Gaelic, but I have heard of cutbacks. There's always a lot of very serious issues involving money, and that's why there needs to be more of a movement for people willing to share Gaelic free, rather than just saying, well, it's a government problem, they can get on with it. Actually, it's not the government's problem, especially if you want Gaelic to survive. It's a community problem, which we all have to participate in if we want to get it fixed. But there we are. That's the news for now. So great news, and well done to all of you for promoting Gaelic where you are. Thank you so much. Chiri and Drazda.